Good morning, traders. It's 10:40 in Chicago. We are on the 27th of October. Let's jump onto the chart. I'm going to skip all the macro features this morning. There's not much going on in there. The market is very kind of mixed, so there is not a lot to talk about there. I've kind of covered pretty much a lot of stuff yesterday. So let's jump over and take a look at crypto today. Cryptos and alts. Bitcoin and alts, Ethereum as well. Just kind of see where things stand, because we've gotten a sell-off last night. And, this B wave looks like it terminated back here at about 64,000. And I think, counting it as a flat makes the better sense here in an ABC. And then, that's, let's say, a pretty clean impulsive decline. And now you're looking for the next decline lower than the C wave. Let's kind of go with this for right now. You can maybe eventually change this to a WXY. But, for right now, I think this is my best approach at the moment. I have placed a channel here, that connects the highs and connects the lows to kind of give us a projected support line, which will continue to kind of slide lower. But I'm watching to see if we're going to make lows, and, the RSI is here near 30, at least on this kind of 3-hour chart. And, I want to see a little bit of a divergence there and things starting to kind of ease off on the sell-off. So maybe I'm still expecting, let's say, a move here towards 56.7, maybe even 55.4, right? So there could be another $2,000-$3,000 drop into this move. Now, it doesn't have to be. You can already kind of say, fine, you might already have a C wave, but you kind of have to have a little bit of a confirmation. So that means at least a move back to the top of the channel, if not a B wave high overtake, let's say over the next few sessions here. We are approaching a time fib here, like I said, at about October 28th, 29th, or another couple of days maybe of weakness to kind of hit this 1618 time fib compared with the second wave. And we'll kind of use this as a guidance, not a hard rule. Again, the second wave here could be questionable. So I'm giving it, a little bit of room here to kind of develop. Now, there's a big support here at about 54K. You could see kind of on the way up. And I think I've talked about this the moment we're starting to see this decline. And I was kind of labeling this as a fourth wave, that the initial support could be at this fourth wave of a lesser degree. And then the next support is probably at the second wave of a lesser degree because you've had an extended wave one. So every time you have an extension in the wave one, markets tend to travel on the corrected move towards, at the higher degree, towards the second wave of a lower degree, which is at about this level, right? It's about 54 to 55. We'll see if we get there, but if we do, that's kind of where I expected. If you also take a measurement of this neckline, that's at about 59,000 right here, and you project it up to the highs, and then you copy it and you project it lower, it kind of gives you the same level. So my expectations into this weakness will be that the market will have some kind of a response if we're getting up into those levels, if we do. So I'm going to go with this approach in Bitcoin for right now, and I'm still kind of going to look at it as being a fourth wave, okay? If things start to get a little bit too large here, okay, and you're starting, but too large, but hear me out, still corrective, right? Then we have to change this wave count to a second wave. And we got to look at this as a completed wave one of a lower degree. So if this was minor, you're looking at the next degree down, which is minute. Then you're going to count this in a wave one minute, just like we've had it before. And then you're looking for a second wave pullback if this gets a little bit larger. So we're going to continue to go with that approach to stay on the bullish side of the market. For right now, this like on this 6-hour chart, this looks like a super clean three-wave setback. Now, if this turns into an impulse and you get in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Now, that would be an initial confirmation that this could have been an ABC move up. And this was a three-wave move to new highs, which is usually a flat or a triangle, okay? So we're going slowly on an evidence-based approach, and we're deconstructing the wave counts in such a manner to continue to stay long because the market is trending higher, and keep in mind this other narrative that we can throw at the market. So this is kind of what's going on in Bitcoin. We've had a very small, a half of a position long that we've taken up into these levels. I was going to increase that on an approach here, but when I saw that big sell-off, I decided not to do that anymore, and that was the right decision because we broke below that support. So every time, you know, you're looking and you count this impulsive and you're looking to buy a correction, your stops have to be below those levels because that saves you of the aggravation of this market continuing to move lower. So you basically have no other business of being in the trade. So 2 points towards us, the fact that we've initiated a position that was smaller than usual, right, because of that kind of trust factor into the move. And then, you know, the other thing is obviously the stop levels placed, you know, at the appropriate level, so it takes you out. Okay, so you know, a loser that doesn't take into a much larger loser, it's a good trade. It's a place where you're basically, you know, following rules, and you know, you keep your emotions in check and you don't let the market overrun you. Okay, you stay in control of the market, not the market in control of you. So that's kind of where I'm at on Bitcoin. We'll continue to kind of watch this decline, and maybe if this thing starts to look good, there might be some long opportunities, maybe somewhere into these levels, depending on you know, how this price action looks and kind of what, you know, what we're going to see if we get a little bit lower here. So that's kind of what I'm looking there. Let's jump over and take a look at the Ethereum. Ethereum has also sold off, but as you can see, this move in Ethereum, it's not as large as it is in Bitcoin. You know, where you have more of an equality between this wave and the next impulse higher. This is a little bit smaller, so it could fall into a second wave, into a 1-2-1-2 pattern a little bit better than Bitcoin does. So based on that, let's look at this as being a 1 and a 2, and then let's look at this as being another 1 and another 2 here. Again, I was thinking that this wave 1 might have another high to go, just so I can have a proportionate fourth wave compared with, let's say, a second wave in here. And nothing here, it's too large to kind of say for that. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure if this wave 3 is the smallest. I would have to kind of look at that. But that would kind of say that's a third wave completion. You're doing maybe a fourth wave in here. One more push higher to new highs in the wave 1, and then we fall in a second wave of this minute degree, and then push to the upside. So that's kind of my thinking in Ethereum. It is selling off a little bit here. You know, it kind of retested almost the all-time highs. It kind of fall, but overall, I think the structure remains fairly well. Remember, the next structure that we're going to be looking for, if this kind of starts to impulsively move to the downside, is that larger triangle where that's an A, you're going in a B, C, D, and E, and then you're kind of squeezing sideways for the next few months. So I remain bullish on Ethereum, you know, with the thought process that this kind of second wave might happen here, and we're probably going to have to accept that and just kind of maybe initiate some longs on that setback. All right, let's take over on the right hand side here. I have the large cap stocks, the large cap coins here, and we're going to start with the ADA. So ADA, you know, that signal that the market sent us that you know, that this move here is not an impulsive move, resolved to the downside. So it kind of stayed, you know, true to our expectation that this looks like that maybe W and then X, and then you got to do another ABC decline lower to kind of, you know, have a better looking pattern into this, right? Because we were expecting it to go higher after this move decline in this ABC 1, 2, and then let's go to the upside. Well, it didn't happen. So what the market did instead went sideways, created the X wave or B wave for that matter, if you want to count it that way. Although I don't think it's appropriate. And then you'll go lower here in another decline. Now, the question is, and I've talked about this in the stream, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow as well, is this a fifth wave top already, or the fifth wave still continues and you're looking for a much larger pushback here in ADA after this correction finishes? So that's the question that we're going to be faced with. Now, for this fifth wave to consider to be finished, you need to have an impulsive move to the downside. So far, this looks corrective still. Okay, so we're going to go with the fact that that's a wave 1 of these lows, and then that's going to be a wave 2. Where this wave 2 will travel is probably going to be something like this, where you're going to go in a 1, 2, and you're looking for maybe a 618, maybe if it wants to be a little deeper towards 78.6. But let's continue to monitor this decline, watch these levels, let's see the reaction we're going to get. There's a big support here at about 150 in ADA, and that coincides with the 618. So there could be something happening there on a potential long move higher. So we're gonna stay with this approach on ADA. I'm gonna finish with this, and I'm gonna jump over to Algo, which is another one that it wanted to rally and it failed. So now it kind of throws cold water over this kind of long thesis, and I have to delete this. I don't think that's the case. I think that the second wave, it's still in progress, just like in ADA, and this was a B wave counter trend move. You can do a pretty clean channel in there. So you can go channel-wise, bottom, top. This is more of a corrective pattern. That's a decline. And then maybe we're going to get a second wave pullback here towards the bottom of the channel. Now, if we're breaking below this channel and you're starting to get towards 78.6 of this move, things are going to really start to kind of feel painful, and you're probably going to look at the break of the 70 cents level and maybe a crash lower. But for right now, I think we'll still remain into this uptrend. We'll continue to kind of go with it. Look at this 1-2 subdivisions. They're a little bit ugly because of the size of the second wave compared with this, second wave at a larger degree. But we'll go with this. I think it's a fair approach. The other one, remember, we're having is that this is a diagonal where you go in a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Although I will have to check, make sure that the rules are met there. And then this wave 1 is longer than this one because this one is already shorter. So we would have been, let's say, an expanding diagonal if this move would have been larger and get higher than this, let's say, so-called third wave. So that's kind of my approach on algo at the moment, and we'll continue to kind of monitor this decline and kind of see what happens, how we're reacting from these levels when we break these level here. Now we don't have to. This can continue to build impulsively, but for right now it doesn't look as such. It's kind of ugly. AVAX, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time on it, but I don't know what this is. This is a little bit of a mess, so I'm not really keen into kind of spending a lot of time counting this. It's just doesn't give me a very good vibe of a pattern here. So I'll revisit that. Maybe I'll spend some more time looking at it. BCH, I don't think anybody cares about that one. We talked. BNB in here, it's selling off slightly, 455. But it's still in some kind of an impulsive move out of here. Now, if this was just another B wave, and the second wave is not over, it would become much, much larger here, and it would be kind of ugly. So, just a heads up, this might look like a triangle that still develops sideways overall, based on kind of what I'm seeing in BNB. And I'll be continuing to watch this, but it remains kind of fairly strong compared with some of the sell-offs that we're seeing a little bit into the other ones. Why is this not correcting? So maybe that's still kind of a fourth wave. As long as you don't close below these levels, that could be a 1, 2, small 3, 4, and up in 5. I will have to think about BNB a little bit more at a longer scale as well. Dodge in here, it's weak in this, supposedly there was what was supposed to be an impulsive move with the break to the upside. Now we fall back again. So just like in algo, you're looking at that move to possibly being a corrective move as well. Let's see, DOT is selling off, but it's still bullish. So we kind of retested those 49.80 levels, and I'm gonna talk about all this tomorrow as well in the live stream. And you guys will have questions and stuff like that, and we can kind of go over some other stuff. But it is it still looks good, and nothing nothing earth-shattering kind of happened there. Maybe there's another small 1, 2 here at the lower degree of trend, and then we can break higher on there. So Link, it's another one that's sold off here. It's got an update, 29.42. So just a small blip in there as well. And then Litecoin gave us a little bit of a break yesterday, and now just a 3-wave decline of those highs in this ABC. Let's see if this gets a return to the upside. All right, that would be a good signal that this was a corrective move and we're about ready to break above 232. So the fact that Bitcoin is a little bit weaker here might help some of these alts, but could also just kind of help them move sideways to correct somewhat. And then Sol, my lovely Sol, which I don't really believe in its further rally, has been retesting that 216 and has been selling off. Now, we can't get too excited about a top in Sol just yet because it's just an initial move of those highs. It's not impulsive enough. You have a rejection of the support here, right? Resistance into support, and we'll see if this could be just a simple flat and maybe see here, and you can make new all-time highs. But again, just like I've kind of beat the drum to death on Sol, I think it's running on borrowed time, and even if you're breaking to new highs one more time, I think this thing, it's been tired. It's been rallying for a long time, and it's losing its strength. It has to, right? Nobody can keep that level of performance on a continuous basis. You have the biggest meat of the move here, and then that meat gets reduced of that bone slowly and slowly and slowly, just like it's going to happen on SHIB. SHIB, it's been, an extremely strong performer here. You've had this massive neckline at about 6 zeros or 5 zeros and 9, and some of you guys bought it at 5 zeros and 7, which is awesome because this was kind of a break, and I wasn't looking at it, so I did not participate into this rally. It was an awesome trade. It looks really, really nice, but again, this one, it's also going to run into borrowed time here shortly. I'm assuming that the latest excited players and newbies and TikTok traders and Robinhood and the crowd that does not have enough experience on Elliott wave theory and just kind of jumps in with the crowd. They usually jump in towards the end, thinking that SHIB is going to go to a cent or to 2 cents or whatever, and I think they're going to get burned here. Maybe not just yet, but maybe another little bit of a rally, and then we're probably going to get a pretty decent decline. It doesn't have to be super massive, but let's say that even if you're going to go a little bit higher on there, if you're going to push back 50%, it's going to be a 50% to 100% decline. You can actually come all the way to the fourth wave of a previous degree, which is almost a 70% decline in SHIB. So, again, another impulse here, which will have the tendency to get smaller and smaller as you're losing momentum into the RSI, and traders are going to start to kind of reduce their positions, and people that have experience are going to be like, yep, it's been a good move, it paid me really well, let's just kind of ease off on this, and you can always rebuy lower if you believe in this project. So that's kind of where I'm at on SHIB. And then you're looking at the other one. It's what Aave here tried to break, it kind of shit the bed and just kind of pull back, so that's a nasty move. I'm gonna have to kind of block this for right now, being in the middle of the video. That's always fun. And then there was another one that was interesting, this 1 inch that we were watching it for a 100% equality here, and it actually pushed higher. Let's see how high did it go. 138% multiple of this wave A, right into the new all-time highs with a pretty clean rejection. This move here might be done, and you could run into a little bit of a correction. I don't know what's going on longer term with this. Don't ask me. I don't think I have a count on it, and I'll probably have to work something out here. I didn't count this coin necessarily, but it's pretty much of a similar kind of move with the rest of them. You have a corrective move here. You got an impulse. You got a three-wave setback, and then you're starting to do a 1, 2, maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. There might be some subdivisions here, but it's kind of funky looking that way. Listen, I'm going to spend a bunch more time tomorrow into the live stream, into the pro room, and we'll go through, we'll look at some macro stuff. We'll look at some of these other accounts. We'll see what happens into tomorrow into Bitcoin. Bring your questions in, and I'll be happy to to talk, and we'll just chat for about an hour and see kind of how you guys feel about everything. And if you want to bring any interesting coins, any interesting trades, I'll be happy to look at them. And from coins, from stocks, from whatever you've got, we can spend some time kind of shooting the breeze tomorrow. So with that being said, I'll leave it here, and I'll see you guys a little bit later to some more updates in the room and commentary into the chat. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye.